With former IS officer and Congress candidate from the Tiruvallur Parliament seat, Sasikanth Senthil, thank you very much, sir, for taking time off from your busy campaign schedule. I just want to ask you, first of all, what's your poll pitch over here and why should the voters pick you?
So, the pitch is from two fronts. Number one, I've been always telling that in this country we are going through an ideological fight, and this fight matters a lot to our families and the way this country is going to function, and especially for people who are, struggling to come up in the last 70 years and have made some progress in terms of economy, social, everything. So my pitch to them is that we have to really step up and fight for our next generation. That's one. Second thing, Tiruvallur itself is a very unique constituency. It's a suburban, and it requires a lot of prospective planning. Somebody who understands the problems in a suburban area. And since I have 10 years of experience doing that, that's another plank from which I say that I may be the right candidate for you.
From a bureaucrat to the chief of the Karnataka Congress war room and now a candidate, tell us something about your journey.
Oh, my journey it's been a real journey. So I started as a software engineer and then realized machines are not my life. I can't spend my whole life in machines. Then I transited to understand whether I can work in social setup. Then as a lecturer in a college, in a semi-rural college, and then I realized I'm good at that and I like it also. Then transited to NGOs, working with bonded laborers for another 2-3 years. From there I moved on to civil service, passed the exam and became a civil servant in Karnataka for the last 10 years. And then when I realized that the country is going in a different direction, I took a call to fight it. And then my first approach was to be in people's movements to fight it. And I was vehemently fighting the CA, NRC, and the abrogation of Article 370 and many other things. And then after Delhi riots, I switched to a political party to make sure we fight these forces politically. And that's how I've landed up now fighting an election for the parliament.
Since you were in charge of the war room, I just want to know, and then you spoke about digital, how important are war rooms and digital tools in today's campaigns?
See, that's a very big misunderstanding about what is a war room. A war room is basically a coordinating space. Okay. You have a disaster, you have 10 departments working in different directions. So you bring them all together onto one table and you take decisions there and get things implemented, review it there, and then move forward. So war rooms are generally done during some events when you need coordination. Election itself is an event, so when you do a campaign and other things, we set up a war room. So war room is not just digital, and for me especially, I'm a big believer in the organization. For me, social media is second, but what I really believe is the power of the people in the organization. So I do a lot of organizational work from the war room. So our war room works on organization, like communicating with the cadre, making the cadre feel good, training them, helping them when they are in need, and stuff like that. So that's the war room that we look at in Congress, and it has really helped us a lot in terms of our outreach, in terms of our way in which a cadre feels about the party, is connect to the party. So that's what our war room is all about.
In 2023, you actually traveled across the state of Tamil Nadu. Could we say that this was that travel was the first steps that you took into Tamil politics?
No, by being from this space, you are already in that culture and society and everything. But I had a long break from Tamil Nadu, like 11 years. So I needed to reconnect with the people, their life, and what is happening with them in many dimensions. So that bike ride helped me understand what exactly is the situation right now. And right now I feel more connected, but there's a lot of traveling to be done to understand. I think even in that ride I realized that, you know, one needs to understand first. Then comes the idea of providing, solace or solution or whatever. But we generally jump into solutions, and I don't think, yeah, there's a lot of traveling I need to do even after the elections.
Now, the selection of the TNPCC chief and also the candidates for the Lok Sabha has sort of, brought about, well, many of them are not happy with it. This is what we have learned. Will that impact the Congress's poll performance?
I don't think anybody is happy with what has happened. In fact, very refreshing things have happened. In fact, many youngsters have got a chance. The TNPCC chief is a very seasoned person. He is a very organizational man. So I think it's more of a refreshing. So it depends on who we talk to. If we talk to the cadre, you will realize there's a lot of new faces who have come inside. A party is trying to invest in building assets for the party in the future. So I think that's a very, I wouldn't agree with that perception.
Okay. Now, we've seen Prime Minister Modi coming over here, addressing rallies. Do you suppose that his frequent visits to Tamil Nadu will have an impact in the way people vote?
I don't think so. Because, see, Tamil people are very different. I'm not saying this because I understand this place very well. And Modi, what Modi is doing to Tamil Nadu, like these frequent visits and his constant focus, I think it's more of an image building in the North India than in Tamil Nadu. Because in Tamil Nadu, there's nothing which is moving for him. But in North India, I have seen him show pictures of that, the South is moving towards Modi, South is also now coming towards him, that kind of a perception. So I think that's more of a perception building for North India rather than South India.
Okay. On the burning issue of Katchatheevu, when I spoke to the AIDMK and the BJP, they say that, they squarely put the blame on the DMK and the Congress, saying that even children, if you speak to them, they will say that your two parties, that's the DMK and the Congress, are to be blamed.
When was Katchatheevu? See, nobody is denying the fact that we are fighting for the rights of the fishermen, and we are with the people who get affected in that space. But Katchatheevu is not a burning issue. It was a diplomatic settlement done, like we have done so many settlements, during the formation of the country, even between princely states and India. There's so many settlements which happened. So it is an extension of that period, right? Now, what is burning, I will tell you. What is burning is this 2,000 plus square kilometers which the Chinese have taken in Galwan, in Siachen, in Leh Ladakh. Just last month, our people who were, rearing sheep and goats were beaten and chased back. What is burning is China has now even renamed around 200 of villages in Arunachal where they have occupied, and they are inching into our country. Like, I feel ashamed. It's happening right in front of my eyes, and nobody is talking about it. That's burning for me. Not Katchatheevu, which is settled as a diplomatic thing in the 70s for whatever context it might have. International water boundaries are always a problematic thing. Our fishermen are mostly assaulted when they cross Sri Lankan waters. It's not only about Katchatheevu. So it's about fishing interest, and there's so many things. To present it as the burning issue is just a joke on the whole intellectual capacity of this country, to be very frank. I can't say much.
My final question, because you're a former bureaucrat, I want to ask you this. Since this issue has been brought up, how will it impact our relations with Sri Lanka at a time when India is actually trying to keep the Chinese away?
haven't we lost it completely? The entire diplomatic, entire foreign affairs hold that we had. China has now entered our borders. They are building a very big port in Sri Lanka. They are now surrounding us from the south. They have already surrounded us from the north and the west and the east. Now, we had to discuss this daily, and I don't know. There is no discussion on this. India's relationship with Sri Lanka and many other border countries was always, the primary focus of any government. Here, perception building is happening, narrative building is happening even with foreign affairs. That's how damaging can one, become to one's own security situations if you do things like this. I can understand they do drama inside the country for politics, but to play along with international boundaries and relationships is like ridiculous. I think the whole country has to stand up and ask this question: what the hell is happening in Siachen? What the hell is happening in Galwan? I think that's the primary focus, and Katchatheevu has backfired on them on that.
All right. Thank you very much, and all the very best. For South First in Tamil Nadu, this is Nolan Pinto.